You've run the checklist.
Yes.
The captain hopes the engineer will know something that isn't covered by the checklist.
Attempt to restart the engines. Right engine first.
Fuel supply. Check. Engine 2 start, power button. On. Engine relight. Negative.
Palermo approach, TUI 1153. Any closer airport where we can land?
Negative, 1153.
Palermo Airport is the closest airport to your position.
We're not going to make it. Prepare to ditch. Oh my God, be merciful.
The captain has decided to land the plane at sea.
I'll let you imagine the panic on board. People were screaming and crying.
Please stay calm and follow your crew's instructions.
There were people in the front seat that had a baby girl. She had been playing and was so excited. To now see the panic in her mother's face made me feel so sad.
TUI 1153. What is your fuel load?
Cockpit fuel quantity 1,800 kilograms.
Captain Garbi's fuel gauge shows that he has plenty of fuel. But for some reason, neither engine will restart. Just 10 minutes after the trouble began, the plane is 7,000 feet above the ocean and falling. Outside, it's completely silent. But in the cabin, there's panic.
Please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened.
My first instinct was to undo my seatbelt to prevent getting trapped when we hit the water. I didn't want to be trapped in my seat and go down in a horrible way. Secondly, I put on my life jacket and quickly blew it up. I did this to soften the blow of the impact.
Do not inflate your vests until you left the plane.
A plane ditching at sea will more than likely fill with water. That's why safety procedures call for passengers to only inflate their life vests once they've cleared the plane. Otherwise, they could become trapped inside the flooded fuselage and drown. In the Ethiopian Airlines crash, many passengers ignored this advice and drowned after surviving the initial impact.
Negative.
The dead engines aren't the only problem confronting the crew.
Engine 2 start, power.
Many of their instruments get their power from the engines. Without the engines, some vital gauges are dead.
On a 2-engine flame-out, you go on your standby instruments, which is you have an attitude indicator, you have an altimeter.
Fuel supply, check.
The crew continues to try to restart their engines, but it's become clear that they've run out of time.
They're not doing anything.
Confirm distance, please.
Your
Distance is now
20 miles.
Boats. I see boats.
Choosing to ditch near a ship or a vessel is not written in any checklist. It's just good airmanship because the rescue can start immediately and it increases your chances of survival.
Palermo approach. It's TUI 1153. We can't make it to the airport. We see 2 boats on the left side. We're going there. If you can, please call.
Captain Garbi turns his plane towards the boats.
Can you send helicopters or something similar? Fast, fast, fast.
emergency. All marine units, aircraft in distress, 20 nautical miles off Palermo.
Even before the plane hits the water, rescuers are on their way.
Autopress. Dump.
Although it's a rare maneuver, there is also a checklist for ditching a plane in the water. Before ditching, the crew ensures all landing gear is retracted to help the plane land more smoothly.
Landing gear lever up.
When pilots ditch, they want their airplane as streamlined as possible so that it glides across the water when it hits. Pilots must not only monitor the systems on the plane, they also have to assess conditions at sea. They don't want to hit a wave head-on.
If you hit perpendicular to the waves or swells with the aircraft, it's like hitting concrete. the plane will break up.
Passengers can see what's coming.
I was hanging on tight to the seat in front of me, and through the window I could see the impact was imminent.
The crew is 700 feet above the sea.
You're with me, Ali? Huh? Careful. Chakri, ready?
Ready.
Here we go. There is no other God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. In the name of God, merciful, merciful.
At a speed of 145 miles an hour, the plane collides with the sea.
I lost consciousness. I woke up in the water. I was 2 or 3 meters underwater. I came up to the surface wearing only my pants. I had lost my life jacket and clothes on impact. I got to the surface and grabbed onto a bag. I was in shock. I was surrounded by everything. My thoughts were constantly with Paola. I thought I was going to die because I was spitting blood. I felt my lungs filling with blood.
Captain Garbi survives, but has been seriously injured. Co-pilot Ali Kabair has also survived, but flight engineer Shokri Haboui is killed. No one aboard the nearby boat saw Flight 1153 crash into the sea. The plane has broken into 3 pieces. The tail section and much of the fuselage sink to the bottom of the sea. But the largest section, containing the 2 wings, stays afloat. It becomes a makeshift life raft for survivors. But not all of the passengers have survived. Many haven't made it out of the plane and to the surface. Helicopter pilot Stefano Borigana is one of the first to arrive at the scene.
The approach control asked us if we were aware of ditched aircraft out of the coast of Palermo, and if we were able to help them to locate the airplane. When we approached the airplane, we could see the wings floating. There were several people in the water around the aircraft, all floating, and everybody with their jacket inflated.
Borigana spots Luca Squicciarini floating, away from the main wreckage.
There was one man without his jacket, and he was the farthest from the airplane. I decided to go over him and throw one of our life jackets to him.
Within the hour, the crash site is teeming with rescuers. They search for survivors from the water and from the air. "23 people are pulled from the Mediterranean Sea. But 16 have died in the crash, including Paola Di Ciaola.
My relatives told me a couple days later, while I was still at the hospital. I had no reaction. Paola was gone. I reacted when I got home. When I got home and went to the cemetery, I realized what was happening. That's where I got really down.
It's quite likely that none of those who died ever had a chance to swim to safety. Their serious injuries would have prevented them from escaping after the plane hit the water.